Hey there, in this video, I'm going to show you the top 10 best AI use cases I found for nonprofits and social enterprises. But before we talk about actually what to do with AI, we need to realize that right now we are at a paradigm shift in our society because we're at the transition from the before the AI times to the after the AI times. Similar to other paradigm shifts like the internet, where we can all kind of remember, depending on your age, what it was like to go out into the world with just some cash and a map and how different that was than how we operate today. And I'm convinced that because of this technology, the world is really never going to be the same because fundamentally, humans have invented something new. We have created something new that augments our own abilities, and we've created, in a way, a new form of intelligence. But as I use this technology more and more, I've realized that really what we've created is a new form of co-intelligence, one that we can control just like any other piece of technology. And ultimately, it augments our abilities to perform the work that we want to perform. And AI is a general purpose technology, similar to inventions like the internet, where it can kind of do millions of different things. It's not really just one thing, and it's ubiquitous across our society. And I think that's what's coming. It's also similar to the electricity, where it's kind of just everywhere. It's integrated into our society, and it fundamentally changes how we communicate, how we transport things, how we operate as humans. And what's different about these technologies in AI is these technologies needed large infrastructure to be able to deploy at scale. So for the internet, we needed computers and servers and modems and wires to be able to scale that up. But what's interesting about AI is the infrastructure is all there. And so we can deploy this technology at scale immediately. And you can have access to the most powerful AI basically immediately for a very low cost. And the barrier to entry is basically none. So just a little bit about who I am. I'm Kevin Harden, and I've started AI for Social Good to use AI to amplify the positive impact that we can make in society. My past includes becoming a mechanical engineer and a master's in education and a professional inventor, which actually was my first introduction into generative AI and creating designs like this. And so far, I've introduced AI to hundreds of nonprofits, as well as helped nonprofits adopt AI at every level, from executive directors and program directors, all the way down to entry-level assistants and people on the ground doing the work. And so my mission is really simple. My mission is to amplify the social positive impact by empowering you with AI to do more of the amazing work that you're doing and free you up from the tedious work that you hate so you can spend more time on the highest value, highest impact work that you're making. And so the 10 use cases that we're going to go over today are how to use AI to write emails to donors, how to make volunteer instructions, how to make a board member plan to activate and energize your board, look at how to speed up determining if you're eligible for a grant, how to search your employee handbook and get access to information faster, to use AI to generate images, to use AI to do advanced data analytics on donations from your donors to pick out kind of key insights, how to increase your donation conversions by using AI to optimize your page, teaching you stuff on how to use AI, having AI teach you stuff like how to use Excel. And the last one is the most powerful, so you have to stay to the end, but it's, in my opinion, more powerful than all these other examples combined. And so how these demonstrations are going to go is I'm going to describe the use case. I'm going to show you the demonstration live with using AI so you can just see exactly how I do it. And then I'm going to tell you the benefits to you and your organization. All right, let's actually see AI in action and look at demonstrations of how AI can be applied to nonprofits to provide an immediate benefit. And so the first example we're going to look at is how to write an email sequence to donors to ask them specifically for a donation and to give them a little bit of context of how their donation makes an impact in the community. And so there's a really simple workflow here. You can kind of look at this from left to right. So first is the user is going to describe what they want in the email. And then the AI is trained on the nonprofit and has the goal to write an email sequence. What the AI actually does is write the email sequence, and the formatting is in the style of an email. So those are kind of the four main categories for how you input information into a large language model. And so here we've got an example, and I'm just going to make a few edits. And this will be just the last time that I actually am doing any typing. For the rest of all the demonstrations, I'm going to be talking with my voice. So you have to bear with me as I type through this. And so this is an actual use case for a demonstration I did in person with a group of nonprofits. And so I'm going to say, Who are we helping? I'm going to say we are Habitat for Humanity. We help build houses for those in need. And add an interesting fact, we want to donate $50 to help reach $1,000. And the thing that they said they actually needed to purchase were nails. So we need to purchase nails in the next 14 days. Here's a link to donate. Every email should be about 45 or 75 words. So we're saying how long we want. We're saying what we want it to do. And so I'm going to copy and paste this. I'm just going to go to ChatGPT and I'm going to start a new conversation. I'm up here in ChatGPT 4.0, which is the latest model. I'm going to put this in there and I'm going to see what it comes up with. And so it should write a few drafts of a 3 email sequence, and we'll read it and we'll see if it's good. So first one is said, did you know a simple box of nails can make a huge difference? Help us raise $1,000 to purchase nails for building homes. Donate $50 a day. That's a nice short email. Here's a halfway email. And so now I'm going to give it feedback, and now I am going to use my voice. I'm going to say, this is a good first draft, but I want there to be a little bit more of a personal element into a little bit of storytelling and showing people that when they donate, they're actually making a real impact in people's lives. So we had someone named Sarah that recently just moved into their house, and it just changed their lives and the ability to support their family and become part of the community, and it was a huge success. And so add a little bit more kind of personalized information into a little bit of storytelling elements into it. So I gave it a little feedback. I gave it a little story that I want to include about Sarah. And so we'll see what it comes up with. Did you know the simple box of nails can make a huge difference? Thanks to supporters like you, Sarah recently moved into a new home, changing her life and supporting her family. Help us raise $1,000 for more nails to build more homes. Okay, not bad. We're halfway to our goal, so we're there again. And so I'm going to say, I want you to do research and add a statistic into this of the impact of housing and and the impact it has on people. So we'll see if it does. It's going to go search the web a little bit and see if it can find something, and then try to add a statistic in here. So it comes up with, did you know that stable housing can reduce health issues like asthma and depression by up to 50%? Thanks to supporters like you, Sarah recently moved into a new home, changing her life forever and supporting her family. And so how it actually worked with this is I would kind of go back and forth with it using the AI where I'm giving it feedback like this. And then I do the final edits myself with my fingers. So to kind of get your last little human touch and like your voice, you're going to read it and then actually make those last edits before you send it out. So the goal is to help speed you up in something, but not do the entire work for you, but just help you be creative and write this for you. Ultimately, though, since it's external facing, you have to be very careful with making sure that it's really exactly what you want to say and that your brand voice and your voice is included in that. And so if we look at the benefits of this, right, it can increase the number of communications. So maybe you're only communicating with your donors once a month or twice a month. Maybe you can be more consistent with communicating the impact that they're having once a week. It could improve and build relationships with those donors and ultimately, hopefully, increase the donations to your nonprofit. So the next use case we're going to go over is writing volunteer instructions. We've got some volunteers that want to participate. They're going to show up on Monday. It's Friday afternoon, and we need to have a document that tells them what they need to be doing, what they need to wear, kind of just onboarding them into what they're going to be doing on Monday. So we've got a really simple workflow here as well. The user, me, is going to describe the info that you include in the instructions. The AI has a goal of creating really clear instructions. The AI is going to write those clear instructions written in an outline and bullet point form. So I'm telling it the information I want to include. I'm telling it what it's trained on. I'm telling it what I want it to do. And I'm telling it how I want it formatted back to me. So let's take a look at this in a new conversation. And so now I'm also going to demonstrate something new, which is how I talk to the AI. So I'm going to hit this little microphone button for an add-in that I have into Chrome, and I'm going to be able to communicate with my voice to the AI. So I'm going to say, in this task, you're going to help me write a set of volunteer instructions that I can give my volunteers that are going to show up on Monday to help with clean out the horse stalls for my nonprofit that serves kids with disability and gives them ability to have interactions with horses and have animal therapy. And so what we're going to need the volunteers to know is we need to have them show up at 8 a.m. on Monday. What they need to be prepared with is they need to be prepared in clothes to get dirty and footwear that can get mucky and dirty. They need to also let us know if they have any physical disabilities or physical impairments that are going to need any sort of modifications to the type of work they're doing. We also want to kind of have a little intro into just to get them excited and show them the impact. So we'll have that as an introduction. And then I also want to let them know that lunch will be provided at 12, as well as snacks throughout the day. It's important that they stay hydrated. And so go ahead and make a first draft of this. I want it written in an easy to read section by section with bullet points. So I made up some stuff. You would have the actual instructions that you want to provide. And so now we're starting to get a document that we could, now I could type this all up, but it's easier for me just to communicate what I want and have the AI type up my ideas. And so it's creating a schedule, it's talking about tasks, it's giving me an introduction. I'm going to give it a little feedback here and say, I want the exciting introduction to be a few more sentences and at the start of the document. So that way it's the first thing they read and they're just knowing what the impact is going to be of the work they're doing and how appreciated they are. So I give it a little feedback and say, hey, I want this to be, a little bit different. And it wrote a new one saying, welcome to our volunteer event. Your efforts today will directly contribute to creating a clean and safe environment for our therapy horses. These horses play a crucial role in providing emotional and physical benefits to children with disabilities. So we've got a little introduction. I could edit this and continue to work with it, either edit it with the AI or edit it by my fingers. And we can create a document that's useful that we can hand to volunteers in a fraction of the time. But really what it's doing is it's taking the information that's already in my head and it's providing it in a format that's easier to understand. And so with this demonstration, what we're going to get is improved clarity, better volunteer experience because they just know what to expect, and just less time doing it. And sometimes when you're using AI, it's the difference between getting it done and not getting it done. If we had to do this document, could we do the volunteer experience without it? Yeah, we could. We could just make it up on the fly on Monday. But if we can just do it in 5 minutes and have this thing to send to them, then it's going to improve their experience, and it's a relatively low lift on our effort to get this communication delivered to them. So next up, we have making a board member plan. Oftentimes I hear that there are board members that want to be engaged. They want to do more. They have a powerful network and they want to activate or they want to do something specific, but they just don't know what to do. And you're so busy that it's too much time and effort for you to create a plan for them to follow. You want them to do it and they want you to do it. And what ends up happening is nothing ends up happening. And so if you're able to create a very specific board member plan, an action plan that they can go and follow, then the likelihood that they do that thing is going to increase. And so we have another real simple workflow here. We're going to describe what we want the board member's goals and we're going to describe the board member and what their goals are. AI has a goal of writing a detailed board member plan. AI is going to write a detailed step-by-step plan, and it's going to be written in the format of a step-by-step plan. So let's go ahead and take a look at that, and I'm going to make up some stuff as I go. So again, I'm going to be talking to it, and I'm going to say, you're going to act as a coach to help create a step-by-step plan for a board member on my nonprofit. This board member is really integrated into the community and has a lot of key partnerships, and they've expressed an interest in trying to bring in a large donation of $50,000 or more, and they have the network to be able to do this. But what I want to do is I want to be able to help create a very specific step-by-step plan that they can follow to achieve this end result. And so you're going to help create a step-by-step plan that I can just deliver to this board member. They can go through these steps with the end result of getting the $50,000 or more donation. And so what we want to do is we want to create a small event where we invite all of these key partners or potential partners to our nonprofit so we can show them the impact and request a large donation, what that impact and what that would look like. And so some of the steps that we're going to need to include are identifying the partners, writing an email to invite them. We're going to need to secure the location, the time, the date. We're going to need to tell them what the benefits of coming to this event are going to be. We're going to need a pitch deck for kind of describing what this new partnership looks like and what the benefits are going to be and the impact they're going to have. And we're going to need some follow-up stuff once they're done afterwards to set up one-on-one meetings. I also want you to include some additional steps that I haven't included. So that's a pretty complicated instructions. I just kind of said a bunch of stuff. And so what it's going to do is it's going to create this step-by-step plan that I can deliver to the board member and say, hey, you said you wanted to help. Now what I want you to do is, if you're interested in follow this plan, and we can work together to try to put on this event. So it's writing a step-by-step plan. It's even making some emails. It's creating, secure the event logistics, outline the event benefits, create a pitch deck. It's got some content in there. And so this is a first draft. What I would actually be doing before I send this is really working with it and getting it to a place where I've communicated and I'm happy with the level of detail to give this to the board member and say, hey, here's the action plan that would be most helpful to our organization if you're interested in deploying this and doing this work. So we look at it, we've got a step-by-step plan, and we can continue to work with this to make it better. And so the advantage of this sort of work with AI is that you're going to increase your board engagement. You're going to provide a really easy and clear plan with the goal of increasing major gifts from key partners. So let's just take a pause for a second and talk about the fact that I'm talking to the AI and talk about the implications of that. So on the left, I've got just a monologue. And this is a bunch of information that I just talked out loud, and it's just a brick of text. And on the right, I have that same text, same information, formatted using AI into a more useful format. So if I just sent you the email with the text on the left as a brick, you would look at that and be like, what is this? I don't want to read it. It's not useful to me. But because I can convert it from the brick of text into something that's more functional in bullet points and sections, now I can take information and I can transform it into something that's more useful. And so we've been able to talk to AI or talk to computers for a long time. It's not a new feature, but we needed AI to do this sort of transcription or transformation of information to make it useful. And so why is this so good? Well, there's two reasons. One is I talk way faster than I type. So I type really fast and I put a lot of effort into that, but no matter what, I still talk faster. And this is really useful for people that haven't learned the skill to type really fast. So now they can have better access to communicating with computers. But it goes much deeper than that and is much more profound once I've actually started using this. And to be honest, I now talk to my computer like 70% of the time. And so what it feels like when you're talking to a computer and just having to understand you is it feels like you have a direct brain interface between you and the computer. Because I didn't even know this, but I'm already doing a filtering process when I'm typing with my fingers. And because I want the end result to be something I can actually send, I'm thinking things and then I'm thinking, how do I need to type those things? And then I'm typing those things. So there's like a filtering process. When I'm just talking, I get to just take my ideas and transfer those and let the AI do the typing. And then I read and edit and make sure it's actually what I want to say. So the interface between computers and humans just fundamentally changed in a way that like none of us probably remember, but like the mouse was invented and that fundamentally changed computers. Similar fundamental changes with our interfaces are changing. And so how will this change the way that you work? How will this change the way your staff works? How will this help employees that don't type very fast? How is this going to change our society if we can start talking to computers more? So moving on, we're going to talk about grant eligibility and using AI to determine if we're eligible for a grant. So we've got a little bit more complicated workflow here, and we're going to go left to right. And so first, we're going to provide it with a grant opportunity, and then we're going to describe our nonprofit. The goal of the AI is going to determine the grant eligibility. And so what the AI is going to do, the actions it's going to take, is it's going to find the AI or the grant eligibility information. And then the AI is going to evaluate that grant eligibility. And it's going to write us a little report on how eligible we are in an informational bullet point fashion. So let's go ahead and fire up AI and take a look at that example. So again, I'm going to start with an initial prompt just to tell it what we're about to do. And then I'm going to feed it the grant, and then I'm going to tell it a little bit about the nonprofit and ask it to determine the eligibility. In this exercise, you are going to act as a grant expert, and you're going to help me determine if I'm eligible for a particular grant that I'm going to give you. So I'm going to first feed you the grant, and your first task is going to be to extract all the eligibility requirements and repeat those back to me so that I can review them and so that you really know what the eligibility requirements are from the grant. Then I'm going to tell you a little bit about my nonprofit and the type of work we're doing, and you're going to help determine if we're a good fit for this grant opportunity, and you're going to give reasons why we would be a good fit, and you're also going to give reasons that we would not potentially be a good fit, so that way we consider both the reasons we are and the reasons we aren't. Give me a thumbs up emoji if you understand the instructions. So I've just prefaced it with kind of telling it what I'm about to do. And so I'm going to pull up this grant, which is an EPA community grant, and I'm just going to feed it in here. So I'm going to upload this EPA community change grants notice, which is a RFP, and we're just going to upload this document. It's like 70 or 80 pages. And the first thing it's going to do, hopefully, is just pull out the grant eligibility requirements. And then, so that way I can just find this information faster. So here's the eligible requirements, partnership requirements, project requirements, funding tracks, additional requirements. So rather than reading this 80 pages of documentation, I can just get the information that I need. Now I'm going to tell a little bit about my nonprofit. So here's some details about my nonprofit. We are a nonprofit located in Appalachia, Ohio, and we help create housing for folks that need housing, and we also provide additional employment services. And so we have partners with the local land grant, community land grant, and we also have partnerships with workforce development. So that way, not only can we get people housing that need it, we can also get them trained in skills that can allow them to have an income that can then lead to home ownership of the house that they're placed in. Give me how I would fit into the eligibility requirements with reasons that I do fit and then reasons that I don't fit. So again, you would provide it with a lot more context of what your nonprofit is. I literally just made this one up. And so it's going to give me reasons that I do fit. Your nonprofit has the definition of a community-based nonprofit organization. You have partnerships with other entities. That's good. Reasons you may not fit. Your project does not explicitly include activities that align with climate action and pollution reduction strategies. So we'll just do a little bit more, another little prompt here and say, based on what you know about me and my nonprofit, give me some suggestions of how I would meet the specific climate action and pollution reduction strategies. We have a lot of partnerships with other government entities and other nonprofits in the area. What other partnerships could I have to better meet the eligibility requirements? And so this is a little bit more advanced, but it's going to give me some suggestions for me to consider on how I can meet this grant requirement. So partner with local environmental organizations to implement green infrastructure, energy efficient, healthy, and resilient housing, so we can make sure the housing is energy efficient, microgrid installation, community energy resilience. So these are some good suggestions, and if I go and kind of partner with these folks to do these types of things, then I would be more eligible for this grant. So the benefits of this are you can have more targeted grant opportunities and ultimately just less time reading the grants. You get all these grants and you just don't have time to read them all. And so this process speeds you up and increases your probability of success of getting that grant. So the next example we're going to look at is how to use AI to find information inside of your internal documents. So you have all sorts of valuable information buried in your systems. And so what AI can do is be a much better search engine within your internal documents. So the example we're going to look at is for your employee handbook. And I just have a very generic template that we're going to search through. And so the workflow looks like this. The user is going to ask a question. The AI has been trained on a specific internal document. This could be all sorts of you have that are valuable. The AI is going to search that information and then it's going to create an answer to your question. And so if we look at this employee handbook, you can see that it's 40 pages and there's all sorts of information there. The problem is that people don't actually read the employee handbook, and when they do have a question, they can't find the information sometimes easily. And so what we're going to do is we are just going to use AI to train an AI on this employee handbook. So I'm going to give it a little bit of context and say, you're going to search the document that I give you and you're going to answer the questions that I have about that document. You're always going to use the document to search and find the answers. You're never going to make anything up. And if you can't find the information, you're going to let me know that you can't find the information within the document. And so your goal is to be a question and answer system based on the document that I give you. The document that I'm going to give you is an employee handbook, and I'm going to ask you some questions for you to search and summarize. So here we've got the kind of prompting it with a little bit about what we want. I'm going to drop in this employee handbook, and this is just a generic example. We've got the employee handbook, and then I'm going to start to ask it some questions. So tell me everything I need to know about how I accrue sick days and vacation days, and how I put in for vacation days. So I'm going to ask a question. This could be a chatbot that you have internally specifically for this document. It could be within ChatGPT like I'm doing here, or it could be built right into your website. And so it's going to search this and say, here's the information about sick days, eligibility, accrual, usage, vacation days, eligibility, accrual, usage and accumulation, vacation pay, all sorts of stuff. So it's just going to go in here and search this information and pull out the exact information that I need. The benefits of this sort of system is less time finding information, it's less confusing, and you can increase clarity. And so the question is to you is like, what internal information source do you have that you'd like to be able to better search and better get access to the information that you have? And so you probably have lots of documents that are valuable that would just be way more valuable if you had access to the information that was inside of them faster. So AI writes stuff. That seems to be the case, right? And so think about the types of things that we write: project plans, proposals, emails, reports, operating procedures, documentation, meeting minutes, budget overviews, strategic plans. Like, so much of what we do includes reading information and writing information. And so what I've realized as I use AI and I'm teaching people how to use AI is that like our work really is words. Like, think about this. Like, think about how much of your work includes writing and reading, right? Digesting information, organizing information, communicating information. And for leaders of nonprofits, it's like most of the work that you do is strategic planning, strategic thinking, writing, communicating. And so it can write anything that you want it to write in the format that you want to write, right? It writes anything that you want in the format that you want to write. And so your job is to tell it what you want to write and make sure it's good. But wait, there's more, right? If this is all it did, that would be amazing. But we're going to get to some more unique use cases that really showcase kind of diversity of solutions that AI can provide. So which one of these images is AI generated and which one of them is fake or AI generated and which one's real? And so if you look at this, you might notice there are some pretty weird products on the table on the image on the left. But it's kind of a gotcha because they're actually both AI generated. And what I did was I actually took the image on the top left here, which is the first picture of an infomercial that I could find, and the bottom image is definitely AI generated. And I used AI to blend these two images together, the ones on the left, to make this new image on the right, and to get this new image. So they're both AI generated, but one of them is a blend between a real image and an AI generated image. One of them is just a straight up AI generated image. So how do we actually create an image that's useful, right? So creating an image for a fundraising campaign. And so we have a really simple workflow here. Users are going to describe what image they want. The AI is going to create the image, and the user is going to provide feedback to tell it how they want it to be different. So let's go to AI and check it out. So we'll create a new conversation. I'm in ChatGPT 4.0, and I'm going to use my voice to describe the image that I want. I work for a nonprofit that helps dogs get placements from shelters into foster homes. And we're creating a new campaign because we have an influx of puppies. And so what we want to do is just let people know that these puppies are available and that they should come in to visit them and meet them and see if they're a good fit for their family. And so what I want you to do is I want you to create a vector-based image that has a cute little logo of a puppy and kind of shows the adoption process that we could use on a flyer that we put out on the table to let people know. So I'm saying I wanted to make an image. I'm telling a little bit about what I want that image to be. And we'll see what it comes up with. Now, one thing about AI generated images is no matter how well I describe it, AI will oftentimes just make something that's very different. And so you kind of have to lean into the creativity of AI. So we've got a first image here. We've got some typos that don't make sense. And so I'm going to give it a little feedback and say, here's my feedback on the image. I don't want there to be any text. I actually want it to be a hyper-realistic photo. I only want a picture of a puppy getting adopted. And so we'll see how it comes up with. And so this is a very iterative process where you're just making it over and over until you find something that you like. So it's okay. It kind of looks a little AI generated. There's big kind of overexposure in the back here, but maybe this would work good enough for something that you need. Oftentimes I use AI generated artwork more for like internal than I do external because it doesn't follow branding guidelines very well yet. And so, your mileage may vary, but can you get it to make something that's useful relatively quickly? And so the goal of using AI to make these images is you can make really unique images. So you're less time just searching Google to try to find the right thing. And it's better aligned with the needs of your campaign or whatever you need it to communicate. So next, this is a big one, analyzing donor data. And so how do we use AI to analyze and do advanced data analytics to find key insights? And so here's the workflow. I'm going to provide it with de-identified donor information. So I'm going to take everybody's names and any sort of like financial information out of there and just give everybody a number. So I'm going to anonymize the data. Then I'm going to ask the AI a question about what I want to try to extract from the information. The AI is going to analyze the donor data, and then the AI is going to answer my question. It's going to provide me an answer to my question with some data-driven insights. I'm going to preface it with how I want to start the conversation, then I'm going to provide it the data. You're going to act as an expert data analyst specifically for nonprofits. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some anonymized data, and then I'm going to ask you some questions against that data to try to get some key insights out of it based on understanding, who are my kind of recurring donors that have maybe dropped off, who are first-time donors that I should engage with to see if I can get a second donation out of, and I'm going to ask you a few other questions. So first, I'll give you the data, and then I'm going to ask you some questions. And so let's take this information. I'm going to drop it into ChatGPT. One thing to be careful with, what's worth noting, is you should not put personalized, sensitive information into AI. And it's really important that you are secure with the data, especially if it has any sort of personalized PII identifiable information in there. So here's our data we're going to upload. And it's going to start writing some Python code, and it's going to create a pandas data frame, which depending on how much you know about Python, and then I'm going to ask it some questions. Great. Now that you have the data, here are the questions that I want to ask to get some key insights. I want a list of first-time donors that have only donated once since the beginning of this year. I want a list of donors that have made multiple donations previously, but haven't donated in the last 30 days. So I'm looking for people that have kind of consistently donated, but then fallen off with donations that we can re-engage with. And I want the list of the top 3 donors total that have the highest total year-to-date donations. And so these are relatively simple questions. You could get much more advanced with the type of data analytics that you want to do. And it's going to write this code and start to do some of these data analytics. And so there's lots of different tools. This is one of them that can do these sorts of advanced data analytics. Let's see what we get here. So here's a list of my first-time donors. Only donated once since the beginning of the year. We've got 2 different donor IDs. Consistent donors that have fallen off in the last 30 days. We've gotten a few donors here. And then the top 3 donors year to date. And now I'm going to say, write me an email to the top 3 donors, just expressing how much gratitude I have for the support they have had for our organization. Also write an email to the first-time donors to just say how happy they are that they provided some support to our organization. We're excited to continue collaborating and showing the impact that they're having. So we're going to have it write 2 different emails based on the type of donors that we want to target and show gratitude and appreciation to. So this is maybe a little wordy, so I'd want to pare it down a little bit because nobody wants an email this long. But this is the type of work that we can do with AI. So AI is like having a junior data analyst with you at all times, and you can just do data analytics so much easier. And so the benefits of using AI for data analytics is you can make data analysis more accessible. It's just easier to do. you can gain key insights, and you can make more data-driven decisions. But wait, there's more, right? So this is another AI-generated image. So AI can improve your donation page. So what I've got here is another simple workflow. So we're going to provide it the URL for a donation page for Habitat for Humanity. We're going to have AI analyze that page. We're going to have it write specific improvements that it can make, and then it's going to output it as a set of instructions that we can follow to improve that, that donation page. So let's take a look. We've got the Habitat for Humanity donation page here. And so first I'm going to create a new conversation. And I'm going to prompt it to kind of start it off and say, you are an expert at increasing conversion rate on donation pages for nonprofits. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a donation page and you're going to help improve it. But before you do that, I want you to teach me the best practices for high conversion donation pages for nonprofits. So I do this for two reasons. Why am I having it instruct me about it? One is because I can actually learn. And the second is because it's basically teaching itself by creating this set of instructions. It's going to teach itself what the best practices are. It's going to have that most relevant in the memory. And then I'm going to give it the donation page and say, use these best practices that you just taught yourself and me to increase the conversion of this page. So it's still teaching itself here and it's writing all sorts of stuff. I'm not even going to read it because it's really to train the AI, like to have the AI train itself and say, great. So great. Now I'm going to give you the nonprofit page for Habitat for Humanity for their donation page. And you're going to use these best practices to analyze the donation page and then give me 3 specific improvements that I can make to this page to increase the conversion rate. So here's the page. I'm telling it what I want it to do. I want it to give me specific instructions, and I want it to, it's saying that it's not working, so I'm just going to try it one more time. See if I can access the web. This worked earlier, so we'll do another workaround. I'm actually just going to take a screenshot because it can read images as well. I'm going to toss that screenshot in here instead. So sometimes it can read the internet. Usually it does. I'm not sure why it's giving an error, but here's here's it just as a screenshot, which it can also just understand and read. And it's going to say enhance your call to action button, simplify the donation form, has too many fields, it can be overwhelming, highlight the impact with compelling visuals and stories. These are pretty good suggestions. So it can help you make suggestions and analyze your web pages to increase your donations. So why is this a benefit, right? You can increase your donation conversions and improve your design of your web pages. All right, moving on. So AI can teach you stuff. And the thing I'm going to have it teach you first is how to use Excel. So we've got a really simple use case here. So user's going to ask a question. AI is going to provide an answer. And the output is teaches user how to use Excel. And so I use this all the time to learn new stuff. So let's fire up a new ChatGPT and say, you are going to act as my Excel teacher and an Excel expert. I'm going to ask you a question and you're going to help explain it. I'm like a medium Excel user, so I understand some things. So you don't have to be super basic, but the thing I wanted to ask you is like I don't know how to do it at all and I'm running into problems. So I'm going to basically just tell it, hey, you're my Excel teacher. So now I'm going to say, I'm trying to do a VLOOKUP table, but across multiple pages. So I'm looking on page 2 for the source data, and I want the outputs to go on page 1. And I'm looking for the terms donation and foundation based on the types of income that I'm getting, revenue that I'm getting from different sources. And so teach me exactly how to do a VLOOKUP across multiple pages. So I'm giving an example of something I want to learn and something specific that I want to do. And it's going to give me step-by-step instructions, including likely the exact Excel code that I can put into Excel and then try it out. So there's my VLOOKUP code I can put in there. And what I can do is I can test this out. And then if it's not working, I can just say, hey, it's not working in this way. Can you help teach me this way? Or give me another example, or it's not working yet, or great, that worked perfectly. So it can teach you things. And so the benefits of this is you can learn any new concept faster because you have just like a private tutor that you can ask unlimited questions to. So you have more access to information and it provides you customized learning. So it teaches anything that you want to learn in the way that you can learn it best. And it's nice because when you have a human teacher, eventually you start to get a little self-conscious if you're not understanding something. But with using AI to help teach you stuff, you can just ask for more examples. You can ask and make it simpler. You can mix ideas together. You can have it check your understanding. You can have just basically a private tutor that's going to teach you exactly what you want to learn in the way that's easiest for you to learn. And the most wild part of all these examples is we haven't even gotten to the best part yet. So I said that number 10 is the best example. And so it's like kind of wild that like there's a possibility that there's something that's better than everything else combined. And what that is AI can be your strategic partner. AI can actually enhance your own decision making. It can help you make better decisions by offering you suggestions and questions for you to consider based on your domain expertise just to make better decisions. And it can help enhance your strategic thinking. So how it works is you ask AI to provide questions for you to consider. So previously we've been telling the AI what we wanted to do. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do what's called reverse prompting, where we're going to have the AI ask us questions, and then we consider those questions to see if we like them. So it can be your strategic partner. And this is, I think, the most powerful use case that AI has. And so here it is as our strategic partner. Users can provide a strategic document. It could be a business plan. It could be a project proposal. It could be a grant document. AI has a role of being a strategic partner. AI is going to write suggestions and questions, and the output are strategic ideas for me to consider as a leader in this organization. So let's take a look at this. So I've got a business plan here for a public school. This is just an example of a 70-page business plan for a nonprofit school. And I'm going to feed this into AI, and I'm going to have it ask me questions to see if I can improve it. So you're going to act as my strategic partner and help me make better strategic decisions. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a 70-page business plan. And what I want you to do is I want you to analyze this plan, and I want you to ask me 3 questions to make this a better business plan. I want you to give me 3 suggestions of potential pitfalls that I'm not considering yet in this business plan to make it more robust. And I want you to just ask 3 general questions I should consider when engaging in this sort of new business operation. So I'm telling it that I want to ask me questions. And so I'm going to put this entire business plan, all 70 pages in there. And this is just a sample of a nonprofit business plan. And so we're going to put it in here, and it's going to start asking us questions. So questions to improve the business plan: market analysis clarity, scalability and sustainability, risk management. How does the plan address potential risks such as changes in government funding or legislative barriers? Potential pitfalls: regulatory and funding changes, human resources and quality control, facility acquisition and development. Questions for me to consider. And so you go through these questions, and sometimes they're not that good. Sometimes you've already thought of them, but every once in a while you'll get to a question you think that is a good question, and I need to consider that moving forward. By the way, can you help me also come up with strategies to mitigate this risk or to make this decision? And so this is the most powerful use case that I found in general for kind of this co-intelligence that's emerging, where you have a certain domain expertise and you're using AI to enhance yourself in your decision making. And so the benefits of this are improved decision making and avoiding unforeseen pitfalls and augmenting your abilities to be a better leader. So here's just some AI best practices to kind of help you get some better results. I know there's a lot to get through. And so first is give super, super clear instructions. It's totally okay to just say your task is, and tell it exactly what you want the AI to be. Give it a role. Say you're going to pretend to be an expert in social media marketing. You're going to be an expert in fundraising. Be really clear with what you want the AI to do. Control it with your voice. This is super, super powerful. And once you start to use it, you kind of get a little addicted to it because it's just so effective for communicating to AI. When you get a response, you really need to read and reflect on it. You need to understand, is it good? Is it what you wanted? Is it what you asked for? And then you need to provide feedback depending on, what you're reading. Yes, it's exactly what I like. I want more of that. No, you didn't get it right. This is what I want. Or, hey, I want to modify it in this way. Give me a new draft that includes these new bullet points. Because ultimately, your job in controlling the AI is you need to determine what good looks like. You need to know what good looks like, because ultimately you need to create whatever artifact or document that you need that's most useful for you to move forward or for you to communicate your idea. And you need to do that in a way that is effective and is good. And so you have to use your domain expertise to determine if it's good. And when you're outside your domain expertise, say I'm writing a patent and I don't know anything about writing patents, well, I need to get a patent lawyer involved because they know what good looks like. So if you don't know what good looks like, then you need to get somebody that does to help guide you. So it can create first drafts, it can help you get started, but ultimately you're responsible for making something that's useful. So where do you go from here? If you're interested in any of these use cases and you're like curious about like how do I get access to technology and how do I start doing some of these things and how do I get onboarded into this, the number one suggestion is you just need to start using AI. It's very accessible. I usually suggest people start with ChatGPT because it's just easy and widely known. There are a couple other models that are out there, but this is kind of the first one to start with. And to help you, I've created a 5-day jumpstart email course. And in this email course, you're going to know what tools to get. It's going to give you some of these AI assistants to start working with. It's going to teach you how to control it with your voice. It's going to help you understand what your specific use cases are, because there's some general use cases that are applicable to lots of organizations, but ultimately what you do is unique. And so it's going to help you figure out what those use cases are. And then it's going to give you more best practices and ways to get involved in community of other nonprofit leaders that are interested in using AI for social good. So first installment of this will hit your inbox by tomorrow, and good luck on your AI journey. Cheers.